What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a little bit of a surprise for you. We're going to pick something up. We're about an hour away, and it seems like everywhere we go, even the Bojangles here, there is traffic everywhere. So it's a little bit slower of a journey than we wanted to go, but we're almost there, and what we have that we're picking up is going to be amazing. We've been waiting on it for a long time, and the day's finally come. So we'll give you guys a peek at it whenever we get it, when we get there and see it. So we'll see you guys then. So we have arrived at our destination. We are here at the mall in South Carolina to meet someone to get our... I'm ready to see this. Dang it, I keep making it sound like that. I don't want to make it sound like that. What I'm gonna do is, instead of saying in the video, I'm just gonna like make go like a bleep the sensor and then censor my mouth. Okay. Make it cool, you know, like funny. So we're eagerly waiting for this guy to arrive. I got my co-pilot Jacob with me, making sure never do transactions alone, friends. Never do transactions alone. Not saying anything bad, just saying things happen when people go alone. But once this cat pulls up, we're gonna take our purchase and head on back to the Tennessee area. All right, so we made it back with the package, and I'm beyond stoked. I'm ready to start making this come true, getting it together and ready to go for the car. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this too, as viewers and as enthusiasts. So this will kind of give you guys something to look forward to on the channel. So without further ado, here's what the surprise is.
Let's get litty.
So as you can see, we went and picked up an LS-based engine that we're going to throw into the E36. Why are you going LS? Is probably what your question is, when I have that sick turbo BMW engine in the car right now that runs great and makes almost 500 wheel horsepower. The answer is simple, and that is I'm looking into the future. Being down at one of the Clutch Kickers events down in Florida really opened my eyes to what problems could happen. Number one reason why we went with this engine is at a lot of events, a lot of people are running these engines, so the likelihood of you breaking something and somebody having something that you can borrow to get back on the track is very high. As far as the BMW engine, there's not a lot of people that run those engines, and even if they're running those engines, they're running way different setups. They're running S54s or M50s. Like, there's a lot of different variations that they can run on those engines, so it makes it a little hard to find parts when it comes time that you need to swap something out or you have something going bad. So I just feel like the LS based engine is going to be the best option as far as finding parts when you break down. Heck, you can go to O'Reilly's and buy a part for this car if it ends up breaking at the track. So you cannot do that with a BMW engine 90% of the time. They will not have anything in stock. Reason number two we went with this engine is simplicity. This engine is very simple. All the LS based engines are very simple. A lot of people know how to rebuild these engines very well, just because they've been around for so long. And like I said, they're very simple. So the likelihood of somebody being able to help me at the track will be a lot better than the BMW engine, just because a lot of people know about this type of engine as opposed to the BMW engine. Not a lot of people are familiar with the BMW engines, so I think that will help in that aspect as well. Number three is the power. It's easy to get big power out of V8s. The engine that we chose is an LQ4. We actually went to buy an LQ9, but it ended up being an LQ4. I don't think that the seller really knew, or if he did, he just pulled a fast one, but I think in all honesty, he just didn't know that it was an LQ4. But the only thing different between an LQ4 and an LQ9 is the piston. So we're gonna have a little bit lower compression than an LQ9, but both engines are basically the same. The LQ4 is a 9.4 or 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, and the LQ9 is sporting a 10 to 1 compression ratio. So there's not that big of a difference there. And you can still make great power with both of them with just a little bit of a power outer. And also, when it comes time to step up to boost, you can throw 15 pounds of boost from a supercharger onto an LQ4 or LQ9 and make upwards of 700 to 800 horsepower easy, and it's reliable power. So this one, of course, being an LQ4, is a 6-liter, and this is out of a truck, so it's got the big truck intake. The alternator sitting up top instead of down here where the car alternator would be, which we will end up switching that down to there for fitment into the car. There's just some differences between the car engines and the truck engines, but the trucks are the ones that sported the 6.0 without it actually being an LS engine. So there's a ton of these out there, and they're kind of hard to find right now, but if you find one, I just found this one for a really good deal, so I went and got it. And that was kind of why I didn't care that it was an LQ4 as opposed to LQ9, because both of them are really hard to find right now unless you're wanting to spend $2,000, and I got a really good deal on this one. So, but as you can see, it's missing some stuff. It's a junkyard pull, which isn't gonna matter. I'm gonna end up switching these to headers that will fit in the E36 and clear the steering shaft. We're gonna end up putting a kit on the back of this engine that will adapt it to my factory ZF 5-speed trans. So I'm not really worried about getting a T56 or a GM based transmission right now. As far as all of this stuff, probably going to relocate all of the coil packs and remote mount them so that they're not on top of the valve cover. That way if we need to pull a valve cover off, we don't have to go through all of this first. And that's another thing that leads to simplicity on these cars. Like, you have 4 bolts to get the valve cover off, whereas the BMW engine, you have, I don't remember how many bolts are on there, like 12, and it's just easier to zip one of these off. The intake, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. They say that the truck intakes flow really well. They're just hideous, and I mean, it's obvious that it's a hideous intake, but we'll either end up keeping this one, we'll go with an LS intake, or we will just get a high ram intake, which is what I would rather do. It's just a little pricey, but hopefully we can find some parts for cheap. As far as our power adders, what we're planning on doing to make sufficient power in order to compete in Pro-Am, probably gonna end up adding a BTR stage 4 cam, but then we're gonna do the supporting mods for the valve train. Whenever you drift these motors or run them at high RPM, they're very easy to float valves, so you want to upgrade the valve train. So we're going to do dual valve springs, titanium retainers, the whole 9 yards, chromoly push rods. So we're going to make sure and do all the necessary things to avoid wrecking this engine. One thing that is kind of in question right now is what we're going to do with the bottom end. A lot of people will pull these things out of cars and not even touch the bottom end. They may pull the pan just to see if there's anything in there, but they don't touch the bottom end. You know, if there's no metal shavings in the pan, they run them just like that. But I'm gonna go a little bit extra here, and we're gonna probably end up pulling the pan, pull the windage tray and the pickup tube, and then pull each of the rod caps off so that we can make sure that the bearings are in good shape. As long as the rod bearings are in good shape, we're probably just gonna button it back up and just send it. And like I said, these bottom ends are super reliable. There's people that run 1,000 horsepower on these stock bottom ends and they don't even crack them open. So we're just gonna send it, and hopefully we don't spin a bearing, but it's likely to happen. But without being boosted, and we're just gonna be NA, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. As far as ring gap, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. The motor only has 140,000 miles on it. If we were throwing boost at it immediately, yeah, I think we should probably check ring gap and actually just redo everything, go forged internals and all of that stuff. But that's another reason why I wanted to go with LS, is because at this point in Pro-Am, you can have a 400 to 500 horsepower engine and you can be very competitive with it. So then whenever it comes time to go up to Pro 2, you can actually just add a little bit of forced induction or nitrous, bump it up to 600 or 700 horsepower, and you're gonna be at the top of the game. I mean, as far as power goes with a Pro 2 car, that's about the range. Between 500 and 800 horsepower is your sweet spot there. And of course, with us already having the engine, we've got the hard part down. We've already swapped it in the car, so now we just have to build our base. So we'll add forced induction, and we'll build the bottom end to where it will withstand the boost reliably, and that won't take much at all. I mean, you can buy a whole rotating assembly for $1,800 bucks and it's forged. So the price of parts is very cheap on these cars, but they're very reliable. So as long as we build all that right, we're gonna have a very reliable car moving into Pro-Am, Pro 2, Pro 1 if we get that far, and our program's just gonna build on that. And of course, as we get going, momentum will bring us to other parts like dog box or quick change and stuff of that nature. But this is the base of our program now, and this is gonna give us a lot of content for the channel, which is what I'm really excited about, because I can bring you guys along on the journey of building this engine and making it fit in the E36 chassis. So I want to make sure and document all of that, so you guys will be just along for the ride on that. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what we have planned for this car. I hate to get rid of the BMW engine, but I think the time has come where we just kind of need to switch gears a little bit and go with something a little bit more reliable, something a little bit easier to work on, and something that's, the parts are readily available about anywhere we go. And it's just the direction that I wanted to go and the team wanted to go. So we're gonna have fun doing this, and hopefully you guys have fun watching. So be sure and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave some comments below. Tell me what you guys think about the decision. I know we're gonna get some haters and some people that are absolutely gonna love this decision, but leave some comments down below and tell me what you think. If you guys have any ideas of cool mods that you can do to an LS to make it super reliable and heavy horsepower, link those below, because I'm learning about this platform, and everything I learn is better. But until next time, guys, we'll see you on the next one, and we'll be ripping this thing apart. So stay tuned. See ya.